Welcome into Grand Slam Sports. I'm Samuel Gelly alongside
Charles Foster.
Jace has used his vacation days this week to get some much-needed rest or see his family or something like that. But so he won't be here this week. He'll be joining us next week. But Charles and I, we're going to be here, and we're going to be breaking down some NFL. NFL season as a whole, is there like any teams that like you've been surprised with that have stuck out?
Yeah, I think some of those teams, I want to look at the Jags for first. I thought the Jags, I thought they were the favorite to take it out of the South, but for them to come in and for them to be 6-2, I want to say, and they've been dominant. I mean, they've won in a very hard schedule. They were out of the country for 2 games. So for them to come in, they've been traveling a lot these past 3 weeks, and they've won all of those games. That's big for a team like that.
No, I really enjoyed the way Jacksonville have been playing, especially utilizing that Travis Etienne of that he can get outside the pocket and catch the ball. I think during one of the games they were talking about how he was actually training with the wide receiver coach this offseason to try to hone in some of that pass catching skills when you're talking about, I don't know, like maybe a short route here, short route there, out to the left, out to the right, trying to support Trevor Lawrence. But also we got to look at Trevor Lawrence using his feet. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not the fastest, but I think he's a pretty smart quarterback as well. So I like your take on the Jags. The Jags is really nice. My hot take is the Ravens. I did not see the Ravens being that good this year. I really did not. I thought it was going to be the same old of Lamar Jackson trying to piece together games and trying to use his legs to keep them in games. Has he done that? Yes, he has. But at the same time, his quarterback rating's up there. I mean, he's got Zay Flowers. I mean, he's got a couple good rookies. But also Odell Beckham Jr., which he actually hasn't scored a touchdown yet, which is very surprising, especially for Odell standards. But, I mean, the sporting gas of Gus Edwards. So, very excited about the Ravens.
Absolutely. MVP Lamar coming?
I know. I don't know. That's a good idea. So, we're going to move on to our next man here, CJ Stroud. What a rookie season he's had last week. 470 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. And I think he went something crazy like 37 out of 40 passing it, or something ridiculous. I can't get you the exact stat on that. Oh, wait, actually, pause. I can. He's got a 71 pass completion rating, and he went 30 for 42. I actually was close.
Hey.
But it's ridiculous.
I feel like Panthers fans right now are crawling into the holes right now. They traded up in the draft to get their future, and Bryce Young just has not looked as good as they've been hoping. And CJ Stroud has come out and he's been the best rookie quarterback by far. Like, it's not even like close. Like, most of the time you see these close races, but CJ Stroud, he is looking like a veteran. He looks like the franchise quarterback, which you don't often see in the first season of their career. You cannot often say, this is our guy.
I mean, when you're looking at his stats, and we broke down the stats here on our sheets, right? He's got 2 games that he didn't go over 200 passing yards. One of those games was 199 and 140, which he struggled in. He's at least averaged 1 to 2 touchdown passes a game, and if you spread out the 5 touchdowns or how many he scored from the past, or at least last week, I mean, he averages 1 to 2 touchdowns a game. How big is that? What does that say for his confidence level as a rookie quarterback? He comes out of the locker room and he just walks out there, through 2 touchdowns. Charles, what do you think about does that for his confidence?
I thought for this team, coming into the year, they'd be more focused on the running game. Having Pierce having a very good season last year, I was assuming that's where it'd be. But they've been trusting him. They are finally. You don't see that in quarterbacks often in the rookie year. Teams don't normally trust their guy to do what he gets paid to do, and they've been doing exactly that. So it's massive to have him be able to come out and score 2 touchdowns a game through the air, and that's not something you get to see very often from a lot of teams even.
Moving on to another quarterback. And I know this has been a hot take, and maybe our producer Evan can put in like a little thumbnail right here, but is the Love story over in Green Bay?
I would not say that. I feel like, Jordan Love, he's in his first full year as a starter. And I feel like, on a Packers team that offensively is struggling, they've been dealing with the injuries of Aaron Jones. They've been dealing with injuries all around. It's just, this is a Packers team that their offense is not set. It's not just Jordan Love. I feel like if you can give quarterbacks like Zach Wilson 2-3 seasons, you could give Jordan Love a season to figure it out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, like, for his first 3 games, I mean, he's got 23 fantasy points, 20 fantasy points, 24 fantasy points, and 17 fantasy points. I mean, with a completion rating between 50 and 60. And then it sort of dropped off. He struggled versus the Raiders. He struggled versus Denver a little bit. Minnesota was tough for him. And the Rams, I mean, he did throw for 228 yards, but does it matter if your quarterback throws for God knows how many yards but can't get in the end zone? Does that matter in a game?
I mean, of course. I mean, you can put up 300, 400 yards in a game, but if you don't score, that doesn't really matter. It's all about the red zone efficiency, which has been god-awful for the Packers. It also doesn't help that they've not had the same running back starting for a very long time. I mean, they've been kind of cycling through Dillon, who's not really been able to find holes that well, and Aaron Jones, who's also been struggling to just stay on the field. So with a team like this, you kind of know that they're going to throw the ball, which makes it even harder for Love to actually throw the ball in the red zone because teams can just predict that and play a little tighter coverage.
I was sort of all in on this idea of Christian Watson really blossoming and Romeo Doubs really blossoming this year. I feel like Christian Watson was a true number one after, I mean, obviously the Devontae Adams leaving, Alan Lazard leaving. I thought Christian Watson was going to be the next one to step up, and in some aspects he has, but in some aspects he's been lackluster due to like the lack of production from Jordan Love. I mean, you can be a good time manager and find short routes and routes out from Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon right and left. Now, you can do it all game, but it doesn't matter if you don't move anywhere with the ball. And we saw a game versus the Raiders where it was an elite defense, and he looked a bit confused. He looked puzzled. But like you said, the same with Zach Wilson. I mean, like, give him a few years. We'll see what happens. But it's just an interesting topic for today.
Packers are in no rush right now. They're fine.
So my next topic to discuss is going to be our lovely segment of start, bench, and sell. My running backs, the topic's going to be running backs today, which is going to be interesting, but we're going to pick Charles's brain here for a second. We're going to go Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara, and his man himself. Who do you think I took?
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall. So, start, bench, sell, Charles.
I'm going to have to start. People can call me biased all you want, but give me Breece Hall. Breece Hall leads the league in yards per carry. When he gets the ball, he is the most efficient at getting he's the most efficient. He averages almost, at one point, was 6 yards a carry. I mean, that's nuts. So, yeah, absolutely. Bench, give me Kamara.
No way.
Alvin Kamara. Insane. I mean, he started off kind of slow this year because he was out with the, I want to say the suspension. Mm-hmm. But now that he's back, he has the receiving game that I feel like Pollard does not have and that big playability that not a lot of running backs have to where when he gets through that gap, he's gone. So give me Kamara on the bench. I'm going to sell Pollard as much as I hate to do it.
I agree with the Pollard. I do not agree with your number one. I would play Kamara. Kamara has the out of the backfield catching ability. He's got the veteran leadership, and he's got the big playability. You said it yourself. I'm going to be a little biased here, too, because I hate the Jets. But I do not hate Breece Hall. Breece has done a lot of good things, and, I mean, at least in our fantasy league, I think he fell pretty deep. I think he was like a 4th, 5th round pick who's still on the board. So
we didn't know if he'd play after the torn ACL.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you were really excited with Dalvin Cook. As a Jets fan, are you disappointed with Dalvin Cook?
No, honestly, Dalvin Cook was more of like a safety blanket. I mean, if you're a team like looking for Super Bowl aspirations like the Jets were this year, you don't want to risk it by having your only running back coming off a torn ACL. You know what they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
You have Dalvin Cook, he was pretty cheap. Worst case scenario is he doesn't play and he just leaves. And we're at that worst case scenario right now. Breece Hall has come in and he's been perfect. Dalvin Cook will leave by the offseason.
Well, we're going to move on here. We're going to be looking at the topic of Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's really early. I don't really want to make anything like set in stone or dead predictions. And I mean, I think the nominees were Puka Nacua, Jordan Addison of Minnesota, because he's been scoring touchdowns left and right. C.J. Stroud. And so I think, honestly, those are the 3 big ones. I think Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs as well.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs was in there as well. But I don't really see Gibbs as winning it. He's not getting, especially with Montgomery back, he's not really going to get the volume of shares and runs that he was getting these past few weeks with Montgomery out. I think, honestly, for me anyways, it's going to be a race between C.J. Stroud and Puka Nacua just because of Puka's sheer volume and usage earlier this season.
I think we can all agree that C.J. Stroud's kind of the pick here. It's normally a quarterback award. I mean, let's be honest, you're kind of the face of the offense in that situation. So obviously the quarterback's going to be the one that's going to be looking at the award more. But if we want to let's be different for a second and not pick a quarterback. It's got to be Puka. I mean, he came into a team that obviously Matt Stafford, he slings the ball, but no Cooper Kupp for the first few weeks. So it's really helped for them to have a receiver that has been able to be that guy at a rookie year that we weren't really expecting to be nearly this good. So Puka, I think he could steal it, but I mean, it's a quarterback award normally. Most awards are, so give me CJ Stroud.
So we're going to look forward to Sam's game of the week. And hopefully it will show up below magically because our producer Evan is amazing. Shout out Evan. We're going to try to get him on here in a few segments to see how much football or sports he can talk. But my game of the week is going to be Lions-Chargers. I think, honestly, I mean, this weekend is sort of kind of like a dumpster fire of mismatch of schedules. I mean, the Bears played the Panthers last night, and it was god-awful. I watched probably like a half of it, and I was like, oh, God, this is terrible. And then the Bears won 16-13 or some crazy scoreline, which is really interesting. But here's why I think this is the game of the week. I think that Jared Goff is going to have an interesting game, especially against that battered Chargers defense. Khalil Mack not 100%, and obviously the Bosa brother is not 100% either. That's good. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get the run game going with Montgomery back, or we're going to see Gibbs a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's gonna. What are you looking forward to about that game?
I think it's going to be another one of those sling fests. I mean, there's two good quarterbacks or solid quarterbacks that like to air it out. The Chargers really did prove me wrong last week against the Jets. I knew that, I thought they kind of struggled defensively for most of the year. So for them to have come out and absolutely lock down, they got a lot of sacks, and playing against a better O-line and a run game like the Lions, I think that the Chargers are the favorites here, in my opinion, to take this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the Lions are going to put up a fight, but I just trust G-Herb a little more, Justin Herbert a little more than Jared Goff. Jared Goff will sort of take some initial risks here. But we're going to move on to predictions for this weekend. First game is obviously, I'm excited for. Jason and I have a bet going. You're going to see next week who wins, who loses, obviously, because we're going to be wearing each other's jerseys. So if I win, then Jace gets to wear his, or he's my jersey, but. We're going to go rapid fire here with my predictions. We got the Colts versus Patriots.
Give me the Colts.
Give me the Pats. Give me the Pats. Minshew's not got anything on Mac Jones.
For you, Jace.
Yeah, all right, okay. Browns Ravens. Oh, that's really interesting.
It's a fun one, but give me the Ravens.
I agree with that. I think Deshaun Watson's been struggling, and they're struggling to find answers in Cleveland. Packers Steelers. Oh, that's kind of a.
It's a defense battle. Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Give me the Steelers as well. Jordan Love's going to continue to struggle, especially against T.J. Watt.
I would not be starting him this week.
Yeah, I hope you don't start him ever. Maybe for the first 4 weeks, I see you starting him. But 49ers Jags. This is where it gets interesting.
It's going to be a fun one, surprisingly. I think the 49ers are going to take a bounce back.
Really? I'm going to take the Jags in this one. I think Trevor Lawrence has enough in his locker, and especially against the big teams. You saw it in Buffalo, against Buffalo overseas. I mean, he pulled it out. So it's going to be interesting because if Josh Dobbs is going to beat the 49ers. Or not Josh Dobbs. Who did the 49ers lose to? That was
they lost to the Vikings.
The Vikings, yes, that's what it was. If the Vikings can do it, anybody.
Yeah, anyone can do it.
Speaking of the Vikings, Saints-Vikings. Give me the Saints.
Give me the Vikings, honestly.
No way!
I've bet against the Vikings the past 2 weeks, and they have proved me wrong. So
now watch them screw you over this.
Honestly, that's okay. I need the Vikings to cool it down a little bit. So give me the Vikings in this one.
This is going to be an interesting one. Texans-Bengals.
Give me the Bengals in this one. I think the Bengals are just a better team.
I'm going to take the Texans here. I'm going to be interesting because CJ Stroud coming off that hot week. You got Tank Dell. You got Nico Collins that can make some waves. You got Damian Pierce in the run game. I think it's going to be a really fun match.
Oh, for real. That's going to be one of the better ones.
And obviously, Lions-Chargers, we just touched on that. We both think Chargers. I think Lions are going to give them a run for their money. But, who says what is kind of hearsay in the aspect. We got the Falcons and Cardinals.
So the battle of the birds. Give me the Falcons. If their stars actually play. The fact that they have two freak athletes that don't play is kind of crazy, but give me the Falcons.
Really? You think Desmond Ridder is going to come out with it, or Taylor Heineke is going to come out with this game? I don't even know if they've selected a starting quarterback yet. I know Taylor Heineke took over last week.
It's K1's debut back for the season. We know that he's going to be back. So, I mean, it'll be fun, but I still got the Falcons edging that out.
Giants-Cowboys. Oh, my God.
Cowboys.
Oh, Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys.
The Giants are going to continue to struggle. And Daniel Jones is out.
Yeah.
But is Tyler Taylor a better quarterback than Daniel Jones?
I think he's more safe.
Yeah,
so
I think he's a
in
safer
this situation,
quarterback.
yeah. But still, he's going to eat them alive.
Another fun one, Commanders-Seahawks. Give me the Commanders here.
Give me the Seahawks.
Give me the Commanders.
Seahawks have been great. Their receiving core is great. Give me the Seahawks.
Sam Howell actually is number 2 in
That is
player passing
nuts
rating,
to
by the
me.
way. I mean, passing yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right underneath Tua Tagovailoa, which is very interesting. I think last week against the Pats, he threw for about 275, 300. So.
It's what Tua does. He's got receivers.
Jets Raiders.
Give me the Jets. I mean,
yeah, I definitely agree.
The offense is going nowhere.
Even if I agree, even if I hate the Jets, like the Jets got this game, especially with that defense. That defense is crazy. Broncos and Bills, final one on Monday Night Football, prime time, and I'm going with
the Bills. It's a safe option. I want to manifest the Broncos, but I'm going with the Bills. So
give me the Broncos here. They showed up against Pat Mahomes.
They really did.
And I don't trust Josh Allen that much, if I'm being honest.
Hey, this will be a good one. I'm going to be watching this one because we need the Bills to lose. So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, no Jace. He'll be back next week. But Charles and I got you covered on NFL and other sports coming up here on Grand Slam Sports. We'll see you guys next week.